710 ESPN.
This is Lakers Talk with Allen Sliwa.
I don't know what Talen Horton-Tucker is going to be for the Lakers this season. I genuinely don't, but it's a weapon.
So that's Horton-Tucker against Tucker. Three-pointer, no way. Unbelievable.
Wow.
This kid is killing people.
You got a weapon that you can use that can create for his own, can get to the basket. What a great asset for the Lakers to have.
Lakers Talk right now.
Here's Allen Sliwa.
What is going on, Laker fans? What is going on? Thank you for tuning in to another edition here of Lakers Talk. Look, let's stop messing around here. We're 2-0 in the preseason. I mean, what more can you ask for? What more can you ask for? All right. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We got a lot of great topics going on here. We got a lot of great topics to get into in tonight's show. Just finished Lakers Talk on 710 ESPN, and you know how this works. You know, done with 710. Then we come back on here on social. So we appreciate everybody being a part of the show. Okay, so let's just get started here. I don't think we got to waste any time here. You know, everybody's very busy that's taking some time on this stream. Talen Horton-Tucker, THT. So this is a question I got for Laker fans out there to start off the show. By the way, I tell you guys, I finally got my Lakers hat, my championship hat. It's good. This thing's going to expire in like 7-8 months. All right. They go back to back. This will just be a memory. It won't even be, you know, it's just going to be a lot different. Talen Horton-Tucker. So a question I got for Laker fans out there, it's very simple. How should the Lakers use Talen Horton-Tucker this season? So how should they use him? All right. Now, am I getting a little too excited about 2 preseason games? Of course I am. Are a lot of Laker fans probably getting a little too excited? Yeah, I think that's very common. But the kid can play. So let me just kind of set up here Talen Horton-Tucker, and let me set up the thought process this upcoming season, okay? When you're 20 years old and you're a franchise, you happen to be on a franchise that's got a chance to win an NBA championship, you're not typically going to get that much playing time. It's just not going to happen. All right. Not everyone could be Magic Johnson and win a championship in his rookie year. Not everybody's going to be LeBron James or, you know, some of these players when they came into the league and they're that young and they're already that influential on their team. Talen Horton-Tucker is in an interesting position because one of the things that we talk about this entire offseason has been about the Lakers' depth. Lakers got ridiculous depth, okay? Whether it's Dennis Schroeder or Alex Caruso or Kyle Kuzma or KCP or Markieff Morris or Montrezl Harrell. I mean, I could go down the list. Wesley Matthews, Marc Gasol. I could go down the list of all these players that you expect to have some type of impact for the Lakers this upcoming season. And on top of that, these are also players that are going to be fighting for minutes. So I'm not sure how Lakers head coach Frank Vogel is going to use Talen Horton-Tucker this upcoming season. But is it safe to say that this kid's got to get some opportunities? I mean, you don't put up 33 points and, by the way, have 10 rebounds and, by the way, have 7 steals in your first 2 preseason games and, by the way, have no fear and have the utmost confidence. It doesn't matter who's guarding you, whether it's a preseason game or don't forget, he had some playing time for the Lakers against the Houston Rockets in the Orlando bubble. The kid can play. So the point that I'm trying to make about Talen Horton-Tucker, my hope is, I hope he gets some opportunities to see if he can be a real asset in the regular season for the Los Angeles Lakers, and then, you know, potentially in the postseason as well. I thought Lakers head coach Frank Vogel said something that, you know, stuck with me in the post-game show yesterday. He said that it's going to be tough to figure out how to use all this depth and all these weapons. It's a great problem, obviously, for him to have. And the other thing he said was guys are going to have to fight for minutes. No minutes are guaranteed. And that's where I think Talen Horton-Tucker is going to get his opportunity. I got to get used to the screen here because every time I point, I'm pointing at the wrong side. That's where Talen Horton-Tucker is going to get his opportunity, okay? You just got to adjust. You see what that was? That was That was an in-game adjustment. Either you got the in-game adjustment or you don't have it. Okay. That's why I think Talen Horton-Tucker is going to get his opportunity. Is if head coach Frank Vogel has in his mind, none of these role players are locked into positions. None of these role players are guaranteed. It's not a guarantee that in the middle of a game, 13 games in, that this is the rotation and that's the player that has to come in at this substitution time. Of course, there's going to come a time where you want to have guys are accustomed to their role. They're accustomed to when they're coming in. They're accustomed with the players that they're going to be playing with. But all I'm asking for here, for Talen Horton-Tucker, I want the guy to get his shot this regular season. I want him to get his opportunity to try and make a case that the Lakers are better off with him on the floor than him off the floor. And by the way, there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. There's no guarantee. If he got opportunities in the regular season, he fell flat on his face, that's okay. He's only 20 years old, and then you realize, okay, now's not the time. Let me go to the guys that I'm more accustomed to that are going to make more sense. But I want to see him get his shot. That's all I'm saying for Talen Horton-Tucker. When I say the kid can play, Michael and I were talking about this in the pregame show yesterday. This was before the game. We were talking about it. And then you heard Ireland and Michael talking about it during the broadcast. They're trying to compare, okay, what player does he remind you of? The one thing I'm going to say about Talen Horton-Tucker, THT, the game's very natural to him. He's a smooth player. He doesn't look like he's thinking when he's on the court. A lot of times you could watch players play, and you could tell the difference between somebody who's instinctive, where everything just comes natural, that whatever happens during the game, he's got the instincts to say, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that. Just, it's very natural. And you can tell some of the other players where they're thinking. Maybe they're overthinking. Maybe they predetermined what move they're going to make, where there's other players that just comes natural. If I got a guy leaning one way or the other, I can right on the spot decide, okay, now I'm going to cross over this way, whatever the case is. Pump fake, get to the basket. I know if I have a mismatch in front of me. That's impressive from a dude who's 20 years old. That's impressive for a kid that, in these 2 preseason games is the talk of the preseason, not because we're bored and we have nothing to talk about, but it's because he performed really, really good in these first 2 preseason games. So Talen Horton-Tucker, the case that I'm going to make is I'd love for him to get a shot this regular season to make a case for himself that let me see if I could be of value to this franchise and this organization this year, not 2 years from now, not 3 years from now. Let's see if Talen Horton-Tucker gets a shot. And by the way, based on Lakers head coach Frank Vogel over the last season and just some of the things that he said, I don't think coach has any issue putting guys in that he feels like deserve the minutes or they're on a hot streak or whatever the case is. I think coach will give him that opportunity. All right, let me read some of your guys' comments here. Macazam 2687 on YouTube. THT seems so humble and ready for the moment. I put out he did a Zoom call right before the first game on Friday. And, you try and find a quote that you like, whatever the case is. And I put out a quote that said, he said something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing here. He said that all he wants to do is just play a role and help win another championship. He is very humble. He's not a guy out there that, is showboating or anything. It's a dude that just looks like he's rolling up his sleeves. He's coming to work, and he's ready to go for the Lakers. He's trying to seize his opportunity. By the way, isn't this what all preseason is about? Preseason's supposed to be guys like this getting their opportunity, see if they can make the best of it. Terry Bogard says no NBA team is beating the Lakers. Okay, Terry, thank you for that analysis. We're talking about THT, Terry. THT right now. All right, this is what I want Laker fans to do. I want you to put on there, what role do you think THT should have for the Los Angeles Lakers? What role do you think he should have? Let's see what we got here. Jashawn the Don on YouTube. He's super cold at the age he's at. I love his aggressiveness and confidence. It should continue to grow alongside LeBron, AD, and company. By the way, can you imagine? One of the beauties when you have two superstars like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are constantly praising you and constantly trying to give you confidence. I did this last week. You guys remember when LeBron responded to a tweet of which player is going to have the biggest leap this upcoming season, and he responded Kuzma. And I kept saying, like, I love that from LeBron. Like, how great is that he's trying to instill as much confidence as he can into a guy like Kyle Kuzma. There is something to LeBron and Anthony Davis, probably in the ear of Talen Horton-Tucker, saying, look, keep going, be confident, be aggressive. Who cares who's in front of you? Try to get to the basket. I mean, it's one thing when, a coach says it. It's another thing when one of the greatest players to ever play the game is giving you that confidence. So it's a good point by Jashawn the Don. All right, let me get another one here. Got a lot here. Kingman 310 on Periscope. He's not scared of the spotlight. You know how he's not scared of the spotlight? He's not scared because he was asked to come in against the Houston Rockets. Remember, Houston went with that small ball lineup. By the way, James Harden, thanks for coming to work. James Harden came to work today. A big moment for James Harden. Went to work today. And he's supposed to play tomorrow. But in that series against the Houston Rockets, he was asked to come in. I think it was Game 5 that he came in. And he just came in. Like, no problem. All right, sounds good. You need me? I'm ready to go. I think ended up 9 points in that specific game. But you're right. He is okay with the moment, and he's not afraid of the spotlight. Okay, let me read off one more here, and then we'll get on to the next topic. Talen Horton-Tucker, the absolute talk of the preseason so far. Man, when I was 20 years old, THT reminds me of a young 20-year-old Sliwa. You guys know what I'm talking about? All right. Yeah, probably not. Okay, last one I got here. Michael Wilder on Facebook says THT can hoop, but I'm taking a wait-and-see approach. Very fair, by the way. We were excited like this a few years ago when Kuzma showed up. Look, I could be overhyping THT, and so could everybody. That's no question about it. We could be incredibly excited about a player that it's unfair to be talking about what this guy's going to be in his role on the championship team. But I am telling you this, I think the dude can play. So we can wait a couple years, all that stuff, but he's a natural basketball player. You could tell. I was mentioning this on the post-game show yesterday. I was talking about there's certain players who are in the NBA and they're athlete first, and then there's other players in the NBA who are basketball player first. He's got a combination of the two, right? I mean, you guys saw him on that breakaway dunk. He's an athlete. He gets up, beautiful dunk, but he's a natural basketball player. So I'll take my chances with a player like that. We'll see what happens with Talen Horton-Tucker as the season progresses. But definitely through 2 preseason games, the dude has been the man. He's been playing fantastic, and a great start. Great conversation for the Lakers because you already have so much depth on this team that now all of a sudden you got a guy that could be 12th man on your roster that can still come in and be effective. Okay. Next topic. So on 710, I was doing the Lakers talk show, and I brought this up, and this is going to sound, I don't want it to come off as like, a Laker fan. I had somebody tweet at me, I think today, saying that I put out a tweet saying Lakers are stacked, and they are. And somebody said, please don't become a homer. I was trying to think here. I'm like, what part of Lakers are stacked am I incorrect on? They're coming off an NBA championship. ESPN did a ranking the top 100 players. Do you know where LeBron and Anthony Davis ranked? Just give it a guess. Where'd they rank? 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Everybody thinks that you had one of the best off seasons because you added not just talent, but youth to this already great roster. You got the right role players. You added Dennis Schroeder and Wesley Matthews and Montrezl Harrell and Marc Gasol. KCP came back. Markieff Morris is still on the team. Caruso and Kuzma you think are going to grow. So I don't want to come off as, okay, well, I'm only going to compliment the team. No, you give credit where credit's due. You praise them when you feel like they should be praised. And you could also criticize. There's going to be plenty of those moments. I say all that because when I say who's got a better shot at being MVP this year, LeBron James or Anthony Davis, it kind of sounds ridiculous. Like it kind of sounds like in most circumstances, you'd be like, okay, you sound crazy to say that one of these two players on the same team are going to have like even odds to win MVP. It could easily be one of those two players. So I'll ask Laker fans out there, between LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who do you think is more likely to get the MVP this season? Maybe it's Giannis again. We'll see what happens. I'll let you guys comment in, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on this real quick. All right. So let me put it this way. I want it to be Anthony Davis. I want it to be. Personally, for me, I want to see AD not win the MVP because that's his goal, but because he was the most valuable player in the NBA, and he's rocking a Los Angeles Lakers jersey, and he's walking into his prime, and you love his skill set, and he just came for the Lakers in his first year and helped them win their first championship in 10 years and grab championship number 17. He's the present. He's the future for the Los Angeles Lakers. I personally want it to be Anthony Davis. And as much as I think AD's game is going to continue to evolve, as much as I think LeBron James is supposed to slow down at some point, LeBron's coming into his 18th season in the NBA. December 30th, he turns 36 years old. I've said this 30 times. I'm going to say it another 30 times. 17 years he's played in the league. Add another 3 years on top of that because of the amount of playoff games that he's played for Miami, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Los Angeles Lakers. It's not supposed to be LeBron still being the best player in the world. But if you had to ask me right now, a better shot at MVP this upcoming season, LeBron or Anthony Davis, I don't know how to vote against LeBron because every freaking year he's been the best player in the NBA. And every time you think he's going to start slowing down, you just don't feel like he's slowing down. If you'd have told me last season, coming into last year, my thought process was, okay, LeBron's going to slow down a little bit. He's got another top 5 player in the league. He'll be more strategic with how he does things. We watched every Lakers game. We listened to every game on 710. Laker fans know when LeBron was not in the game, there were plenty of times where you're like, all right, get LeBron back in. Get him in. LeBron, quick little Gatorade, get back in the game. The team needs you. And that's LeBron James. He's the best player in the world. He still is. The title of, just think about it. It's MVP, most valuable player. I don't know how anybody can think there's a more valuable player in the NBA than LeBron James. Certainly last season, just to use as an example. So as much as I'd like to see Anthony Davis win MVP this upcoming season, until I see something different, I just don't know how I can pick against LeBron James because he's proven for 17 years in his career, and however amount of years that you want to say he's been the most valuable player, he's proven his value. So it's very difficult for me to go against that. If I had to pick between LeBron and Anthony Davis to be MVP this upcoming season, I'm going to stay with LeBron until something else happens. So we'll see what happens. Let me read off some of these comments here. LeBron not ready to give it up. John East says, AD MVP for the Lakers' sake. I get it, by the way. I understand, why we want to see Anthony Davis. I'm with you on that. I'm a believer. By the way, AD is ridiculous. I mean, his skill set is stupid. What he does on the defensive side. We know Anthony Davis's value. Nobody questions that. And I think he's only going to get better, and I think his value is only going to increase for the Los Angeles Lakers. But I think there's certain things that it doesn't matter about the other player. It just matters about one of the greats to ever play the game and when he'll, slow down just a notch. All right, let's see what else we got here. Nahim7 says Anthony Davis won't win because he's a second star. Yusvik Whiff on YouTube says Kevin Durant will win MVP. Mrs. O on YouTube, Bron is MVP. This is an interesting one. DJ AB says, yeah, the media definitely been running the show lately. Giannis not going 3 straight. They might give it to Luka. Hey, Luka, that dude's the man too. Let's not forget about it. But the one thing about Luka is, as effective as he is on the offensive side, he'll never, be 5% of what Anthony Davis is going to be effective on the defensive side. And there's 2 sides to the floor here. Do we got some Clipper fans trying to chime in here? We got some Clipper fans trying to run their mouth a little bit. These are some of my favorite moments. It's like somebody pulling up in a Honda Accord, and they're saying, "Look, my Accord is just nicer than your Lexus." It just doesn't make sense. None of it makes any sense. But you know what? We let them. This is an open chat. You want in? Come on down. But just be careful when you run your mouth and you have nothing to run your mouth about. You know what I mean? I mean, typically you want something to run your mouth about. Doesn't always happen. All right, let me read off one more here. Dom K on YouTube. Sliwa, I think AD wins MVP and Finals MVP. I'm just being honest. Okay. All right. Okay, we got a lot here. We got a lot of these comments on the Laker front. All right, before I get into the next topic, Laker fans, where are you tuning in from? This is what we call roll call. So just put the city that you're tuning in from. If it's here in Los Angeles, be specific. What city in LA? If you're somewhere in Southern California, somewhere across the country, or somewhere in the world, let me know where you're tuning in from, and I'll give a shout out. DJ AB says a 94 Honda Accord. 94. You got to the mechanic a couple times. Your mileage is really up there. You know what I mean? Things are just not running right. That's how I would describe the Los Angeles Clippers right now. Somebody says Hondas are nice. Like, nothing wrong with a Honda, but you know what I'm talking about. All right, we'll get a lot of people defending the Honda. All right, couple people. Minnesota, thank you for being a part of the show. Algeria, look at you guys. Across the world, Laker fans are. Chicago, the Philippines, North Hills, Cleveland, Ohio, thank you for being a part of the show. New York, East Los Angeles, Anaheim, Magic City, Redondo, Nairobi. Look at this. Artesia, thank you for being a part of the show. Someone's in his basement. That's all good. Be in your basement. China, Staten, California, Fontana, California, Long Beach, India, San Francisco. I appreciate all of you guys being a part of the show. Also, a quick shout out. Power Pro Plumbing, Heating and Air. So they are a sponsor here as we do this Lakers Talk on social. Greatly appreciate their partnership. If you're out here locally, it's a locally owned business. The owner there is as big of a Laker fan as you're possibly going to find. Thank you for their partnership on the show as well. New Zealand, Lake Forest, California, Detroit, Michigan in the house, Camarillo, Hong Kong, Singapore, Lake fans everywhere. Cancun Clippers, somebody put on there. Highland Park, El Toro, Philippines, Honolulu, Artesia. Thank you all for being a part of the show. All right, we got overwhelmed here. Koreatown, thank you for being a part of the show. Okay. Laker fans, I got one. This isn't a competition here. This is more just your opinion. Okay? Got another topic I want to get into. Vietnam, San Clemente, Las Vegas, the Bahamas. Thank you for being a part of the show. Somebody said they're at Power Pro right now. They're at Power Pro. You don't have to go there. But thank you for stopping by there. Sydney, Australia. Thank you for being a part of the show. All right, I want to get into the next topic. All right. So the Lakers, we know the depth they got. We know the type of players that they have. 2 guys that you just assume are going to come off the bench and are going to have a role for the Lakers this upcoming season. Kuzma's going to play a role for the Lakers this upcoming year. Alex Caruso is going to play a role this season for the Los Angeles Lakers. Both of those guys, we saw moments during last playoff, that playoff run. Certainly, they had moments where they were, no question about it, productive. No question about it. They were they had their own stints where they were effective for the Los Angeles Lakers. So a question I'm going to throw out there to Laker fans. Who do you think will be more productive for the Lakers this season? Kyle Kuzma or Alex Caruso? Now, you got to define what productivity is for you. I think for me, it just comes down to which player is going to be more effective for the Lakers when they're asked to be in the game. And, certainly they have different skill sets. Let me give you kind of some examples here of what Kuzma brings. First of all, I think Kuzma has more upside between the two players. What I'm referring to there is the potential. He's got more length. He's taller. He's got more of a repertoire from an offensive skill set, right? His capabilities on offense. Kuzma has, he's a unique player. Still obviously incredibly young. I think he brings a lot to the table. But Kuzma, he's got definitely some holes that you can poke in his game. All right, Alex Caruso. There's certain players that just have a dog to them. You can't, no stat sheet is going to, always weigh the value of a player like Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso is a player that every team needs an Alex Caruso on their squad. And Alex Caruso is only getting more confident, and he's only getting better, and he's coming off a championship run, and he started in the final game, Game 6 against the Miami Heat. So Laker fans understand Alex Caruso's value. They're both productive players. I think this upcoming season, let's put it this way. At the end of games, if I'm trying to determine if I want Kyle Kuzma in the game or if I want Alex Caruso in the game, there's going to be things that it depends on. What team are you playing? What's the lineup look on that side? I will say this. I will say that between those two players, I got a feeling this upcoming season that Alex Caruso will be more productive for the Los Angeles Lakers for what they need. This isn't taking anything away against Kyle Kuzma. I just think those are going to be two players that are interesting conversations all season long, and they're each going to have different opportunities where they can shine. But for me, I think there's something about Alex Caruso that it feels like every time he's on the floor, good things happen, whether it's on the defensive side, whether it's slashing to the basket, whether it's being a dog on the defensive side, whether it's diving for loose balls. Those types of things are incredibly valuable. And I think this season is going to be, an important year for Alex Caruso because now the NBA knows who he is. The NBA knows how effective he is. Laker teammates, there's a respect to what he's doing. Of course, his journey is both of these guys' journeys is you have to respect how they got to the NBA and how they're on a championship roster. But if I got to pick between the two of them that I think is going to be more productive, I'm going to roll the dice here. Go Alex Caruso. Backski on YouTube. Caruso will be better. He's more established than Kuz. Caruso gives everything he's got every game. Kuzma has a tendency to coast and relax like he feels he's a superstar. Okay? Read off a couple more here. It's an interesting question. Bert Awada says, would you rather have Caruso or Josh Hart? He called him Jason Hart. I'm sticking with my guy, Alex Caruso. Next question. Max Power on YouTube. Caruso is consistent. You could trust him to make the right play. John Vasquez on Facebook. Kuz will have better stats, but Caruso will just do more to win games that won't show up in the stat sheet. What else we got here? All right, Encino, California in the house. Lamar on YouTube. Kuzma, his minutes depend on it. By the way, I understand what you mean on that. For Kuz, there's a lot of times people say, well, look at how Kuz did when Anthony Davis is not in a game, or when LeBron or AD get rest, he's going to put up. By the way, Kuz had 25 last night, so it's not like, Kuz is chopped liver here. Nobody's saying that. But I think what Laker fans got to understand, when you try making that point, well, Kuz scores more and he's more effective when one of those two stars are out. Well, that's not how it works. This is your roster. You're going to win an NBA championship, or you got a shot at going back to back because those guys are on your roster. So that plays into why Caruso could be more productive, because he doesn't need the ball to show that he is productive. Now, that's LeBron James on Twitter saying, no, I think Kuz is going to have the big leap this upcoming year. So who knows? Maybe it is Kyle Kuzma. All right, a couple more here. Ahmed Yusuf on Periscope. Kuzma, because he is playing for a contract, and LeBron and AD will rest a lot this season. One more on YouTube. THD cancels out Caruso, but is blasphemous to talk bad about Caruso, the GOAT. Okay, so you know what you're talking about there. Okay, I think we're ready to move on to the next topic. So let me open up Twitter real quick. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Twitter, small website. It might take off. It might do well. Let me open up Twitter, because when I was doing the show, I put out, let me find it here, all the talent that the Lakers got on the roster. Who's your closing five? Closing five for the Lakers this upcoming season. You know, a lot of times when I do the pregame show with Michael Thompson, he says it doesn't matter who starts. It matters who closes, which I get what he's saying, right? It's not the best five don't always start. Strategic, like I've been saying already, you guys know this every time I've done the show, I don't want Dennis Schroeder to start. I want Dennis Schroeder to come off the bench. I think the Lakers are better off with Schroeder coming off the bench. But that doesn't mean Dennis Schroeder is not one of the five best players on this Lakers team. I believe he is. So it's more important of who closes. So that being said, the Lakers closing five. Who do you think closes for the Lakers? You don't have to play all these big hypotheticals, because I know we can do that and we could say, well, it depends on matchup and all that. Lakers closing five. Who do you want in at the end of games? Okay. I got a lot of responses on Twitter when I was doing the show on 710. I won't read those. I'm going to focus on just, the people that are chatting right now. But I'll give you guys my closing five. You guys ready for my closing five? Real quick, my starting five. Let me get some Wesley Matthews, some KCP action, some LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Marc Gasol. That's my starting five. My closing five. LeBron and AD. Okay, we're done there. I think KCP has deserved. He's proven enough that I don't want to close out games without KCP. I'm a fan of KCP. We got a chance to see KCP for the first time, since KCP signed that 3-year, $40 million deal. He's 27 years old as well. Aren't you just feeling good about KCP at this stage of his career? I mean, you have to be. You have to be feeling good about where KCP is. His confidence level is up. He's secure now with a contract. He knows he's going to be with the Lakers for a while. He was a great role player for the Lakers in that playoff run in the bubble. So I want to end games making sure KCP is in the lineup. So right now, so far, LeBron, Anthony Davis, KCP to close out a game. Dennis Schroeder. So maybe I don't want Schroeder to start. I want Schroeder to close. I think Schroeder is going to be a big asset for the Lakers, and I think he has the ability to attack, put some pressure on the defense. He could be another player that can get the offense going. He can push on offense. I think he'll have chances to on the defensive side to take chances and kind of be a gnat, I guess you could say, just simply because you got LeBron and Anthony Davis on the other side, on the defensive side for you, so you could take more risks, take more chances. So LeBron, Anthony Davis, KCP, and Dennis Schroeder. For the fifth player, look at this Lakers roster. This is not easy to figure out who would be the fifth player to close out a game for the Los Angeles Lakers. I thought about it, and I thought of, okay, well, there's Kuzma, there's Caruso, there's Markieff Morris, there's Montrezl Harrell, there's Talen Horton-Tucker. You better throw him in the mix. Wesley Matthews. What I came with at the end, I'd want Marc Gasol in the game. I'd want Marc Gasol to help close out games. Okay, Will it matter who you're playing? All that stuff, yes. But Marc Gasol is such a smart basketball player. He's got so much. He's got such a high IQ player. You saw yesterday he had 5 assists, and just imagine when LeBron and Anthony Davis are there, and he could spread the floor a little bit and give AD all the space that he needs down low. He's a smart defender. He can hit open jumpers. He can hit 18-footers, 15-footers, 20-footers. So I'm going to go with LeBron, Anthony Davis, KCP, Dennis Schroeder, and Marc Gasol. Yes, there are going to be times you want Markieff or Montrezl Harrell. Yes, there's going to be times you want AD at the 5, but I'm not going to play out every single scenario. That's my closing 5. All right, let me read off some of these here. I got Gotti Boy saying Gasol can't close out. Y'all tripping. I'm probably going to have a lot of people say that. Bert Iwata says, any second thoughts on Harrell? I get it. Laker fans. I get it. I just, I think I'm just a fan of Gasol right now. Till Gasol finds a way to say no. Kingman310, like KCP's confidence right now. G. Alexander says, I think Harrell needs to be on the closing 5. He may very well be, by the way. And he is a dog, and he's going to do – there's certain things that these players – one thing that Montrezl Harrell is a strength at, it might be a weakness for Marc Gasol. A weakness for Montrezl Harrell is going to be a strength for Marc Gasol. Dan Inspiration, AD, LeBron, KCP, Caruso. Dan Inspiration only has 4. He just wants 4 players to close out for the Lakers. He doesn't need any more than that. All right, final one I want to read off here. Mangy Pat on YouTube. Gasol's passing is good for AD to see in person. That's literally the one thing he needs to work on. He's talking about Anthony Davis. Okay, solid comments here, Laker fans. Lamar says, put Sliwa at 2 guard when they blow out teams. It's not a bad idea, Lamar. It really isn't. I mean, I don't want to go on here and talk about my crossover again. We've done that before. Everybody knows. Everybody on this channel knows what type of crossover I have. So I don't want to get into it. You know, I'm a humble guy. I'm a humble guy. All right. That's all I got right there on the 5 guys for closing out games for the Lakers. Okay. So you guys saw the story last week. 2 more topics, and then we're getting the heck out of here. I'm supposed to make the show a half hour. I think I'm going way too long on these shows. We got to make this. We got to make this show. Or we saw this topic last week. What do you guys think of the Pau Gasol conversation? First of all, let me just say this about Pau Gasol. One of my favorite Lakers of all time. Okay, love me some Pau Gasol. You go to 3 NBA Finals in a row. It's no coincidence. Pau Gasol, obviously a huge piece. Him and Kobe Bryant win 2 championships together. Love me some Pau Gasol. He's 40 years old, and he told Zach Lowe on ESPN last week that, he's obviously trying to rehab. He's had health problems, and we're going to find out whether his body gives him an opportunity or it doesn't. We have no idea if it will. Marc Gasol was asked last week about what it would be like, and he just basically said, look, first, Pau's got to get his body right. There's no guarantees that his body's going to respond and be ready to go. So the question I'm going to ask Laker fans, would you want to see Pau on this Lakers roster to end his career? Let me just say this. Of course, let's assume he's healthy and he can go, and we don't know what he's going to bring to the Lakers at age 40, but would you want to see him close out his career here? I'll respond this way. There are certain times where storylines, like this, are good for a franchise that's not going anywhere, or they're good to, stir some conversation, good storylines. It's a feel-good story. Maybe you're trying to sell seats, whatever the case is. I know we're in a completely different world right now. But with all that being said, this is my thoughts on Pau. Lakers are in a position to try and win an NBA championship. That's all that matters. And that's all that should matter. Every one of those roster spots matters. Every single one of them. So when I look at the possibility to get Pau Gasol, the question becomes, is there another player that you can bring that can fill in the void of? I've seen a lot of Laker fans say that Dwight Howard not coming back. Every Laker fan wishes they had Dwight Howard still on this team, so you had some more size. One of the great advantages the Lakers had last year is you had that combination of JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. Well, you lost some size because Marc Gasol is there, but Montrezl Harrell is a undersized big, and so is Markieff Morris. Every roster spot matters. As much as I love Pau Gasol, and as much as I'd love to see Pau Gasol win another championship or compete for another championship or just be a part of a team like the Lakers to have that opportunity, it's got to make sense, right? If he's healthy and the front office thinks that he can still, it's not like they're going to ask him to play 30 minutes, give 10 minutes a night and kind of have that presence that they need, then I'm all for it. But to do it for any other reason than you thought you are increasing your chance of winning an NBA championship, not sure it's going to make sense. Don't worry. One day, Pau's going to get his jersey retired at Staples Center, and that's going to be an amazing, amazing moment. And it's going to be special for Laker fans because we know how important Pau Gasol was to the Lakers. But it's got to make sense. If he's healthy, will he be effective? Will he fill a void that the Lakers don't have? If he does, then all good. It's Pau Gasol. But if he doesn't, it's not something that you should force. That's not there. So we'll see what eventually happens with Pau. Okay, Mike Sabino. Pau, yes, if his body allows. The role would probably be limited in minutes, has size and length, and crazy IQ and leadership. Lionel Fransos on YouTube. I love him, but it's just not the move. When the last time you heard something special that he did? It's been a while, I'll tell you that much. If we sacrifice another player, no. Somebody's trying to make a comparison to Udonis Haslem with the Miami Heat. Who do you give up for him? Who do you give up for him, though? I don't think you have to give up anything. Lakers, the NBA is going to continue. First of all, Lakers still have a roster spot available, and they might expand that roster. The entire NBA may do that simply because of what's going on with, COVID and potentially players being missed or whatever the case is. By the way, quick shout out. Thank you to everybody that's part of these shows. Every time we do these, as you guys know, I love doing them. Carlo in the background, he's the one, ducking and diving here, moving around and getting all the graphics going. But we appreciate you being a part of the show. Follow us, ESPN Los Angeles. Follow all the ESPN Los Angeles, Twitter, Facebook. Follow on Instagram at ESPN Los Angeles. For me, it's at Allen Sliwa. And if you're on YouTube right now, please subscribe to the channel. So thank you for being a part of the show. And thank you for Power Pro Plumbing, Heating, and Air being a partner with us on this Lakers Talk on social. We're not done. Final thing I got. If you got some questions, start chiming in with questions. If you got questions, put them up there. I'll answer a few questions, and then we'll all get the hell out of here. All right, then we'll all get the hell out of here. By the way, next game for the Lakers coming up this Wednesday, 6 p.m. tip-off against Chris Paul and Devin Booker in the Phoenix Suns. So that'd be kind of a fun game to see Chris Paul but Chris Paul with the Phoenix Suns. I think that actually will be a playoff team this year. So we got that coming up on Wednesday. Tomorrow, starting in the morning, Keyshawn, Zubin, and Travis, or throwing them all in there. Keyshawn, J. Will, Zubin, and Travis will get things going in the morning. And then, obviously the entire lineup. I'm going to fill in tomorrow with Scott Kaplan as well. So for Scott Kaplan, starting at 7 o'clock. So, all right, let me read off a couple questions. Robert Gonzalez wants a fist pump. I got you, Robert. I got you, man. I got you. 2-0 in the preseason. We're undefeated in the preseason. Talen Horton-Tucker just came out of nowhere. Just all of a sudden became the talk of the preseason. Shout out from the Philippines. Thank you for being a part of the show. Let's see what we've got here. A couple questions here, and we're out. Should Derrick Fisher get a jersey retired? That was not expecting that one. He has 5 rings like Kobe. That's Ernie the Daily Learner on YouTube. I'm going to say no. Big fan of D-Fish, big fan of Robert Horry, big fan of Rick Fox, big fan of these role players that helped the Lakers win NBA championships, Meta World Peace, Trevor Ariza. You go down the list of all these role players. And I know D-Fish a critical one because he was in multiple stages and he has 5 championships. But I'm going to say that that's got to really, really be left for the superstars. So I'm going to say no on that one. Backski on YouTube says, where will THT playing time come? I'm assuming what you're saying there is whose playing time, whose minutes is he going to get? Anybody's minutes. If he's playing good ball, let him play. And I don't care if that means Caruso's getting less minutes or Kuzma or KCP or Wesley Matthews. It doesn't matter. If you got somebody who's producing and Talen Horton-Tucker is producing these first 2 preseason games, you find a way to get him in the game. So that's what I think about playing time. Let's see what else we got here. Ari is asking on YouTube, who'll be the top scorer for the Lakers? Easy one. That's going to be Anthony Davis. Okay, I got 2 more. 2 more, and then we're done. John East, who is your all-time Laker enforcer / energy guy? Enforcer / energy guy. AC Green was a great one. Rick Fox, I think, played that kind of a role. Because those 2 players had long durations with the Lakers, those are 2 of my favorite. Michael Thompson. The only thing with Michael is I just didn't get a chance to watch enough of Michael in those days. So it's like it was the AC Greens of the world, and it was like I said, Rick Fox. Those are 2 pretty damn good enforcers. Okay, last one, final one here, Laker fans. Final one we got here. Here we go. Okay. Ann J says, who would you give more minutes to? Alex Caruso or Talen Horton-Tucker? Look at Talen Horton-Tucker getting in the mix here, getting a part of these conversations. Who would I give more minutes to? Alex Caruso or Talen Horton-Tucker? I like the question, but it's an easy answer for me. AC is proven. Alex Caruso is proven. He's a guy that doesn't need the ball. I was making these conversations we were talking about with Kyle Kuzma and Alex Caruso. The dude knows how to contribute. He knows how to do the small things. He knows how to pick up on defense. He knows when to make the right cuts. He makes winning plays. That's the best way I could put it. Certain players that just have the ability to make winning plays. Now, 3 months from now, maybe the conversation is different. Maybe Talen Horton-Tucker just goes into a whole different mode and his confidence only gets stronger. But, I'm very, very confident in Alex Caruso. Let's put it that way. All right, Laker fans. That's all we got tonight. Thank you for being a part of the show. Always appreciate you guys doing this. Follow us at ESPN Los Angeles. Follow me at Allen Sliwa. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are tuning in on YouTube. Wherever you're tuning in from, we appreciate it. Wherever you're tuning in from, literally from a location perspective, it's fantastic to read off all those shout-outs simply because we know where a lot of our Laker fans are. So thank you for being a part of the show. Tune in tomorrow morning. And I'll be back tomorrow night filling in for Scott Kaplan. I believe Cap is doing a show with LZ prior. Of course, Mason in Ireland tomorrow. So tune in. We'll have everything covered from that perspective. Thank you for being a part of the show. Have a great night.